Alright, hello everyone, this is Anomalous. You can find me on MTGO YouTube at Vincent Cipolla, and MagicGatheringStrat, and on my stream, www.twitch.tv/Anomalous0, spelt that way, ANOMULUS0. And so the last time I did the post-mortem, or any time I claim to know it was in the pack, I always get questions like, how do you know that? Or where do you find that program? So I'll tell you where, and I'll tell you what it does. So this is the M14 common print run. If you notice, this is shared by Vincent Cipolla, who is me. And so basically I use draft caps, and I have a program that I wrote that just figures out the common print run. It needs some number of draft caps, and it'll just figure it out. You don't really need to know the details of that. And what the print run is packs on Magic the Gathering. The commons are made by taking any two of these, A, B, C1, and C2, but never C1 and C2 in the same pack. And then you just choose a starting point, and you take like 5 cards here, and 5 cards here, and that's a pack. Or you could take 4 cards here, 6 cards here. There's different combinations. 4 cards here, 6 cards here, and that's a pack. That's the commons in the pack. And it will always be in this order. So if you ever say, let's just do Chandra's Outrage. So if you ever see a Chandra's Outrage, it is always going to appear with these cards, or these cards, or these cards, and so it will never show up in this part of the print run with a Messenger Drake, or it will show up with a Messenger Drake. That's a bad example. Lightning Talons. Yeah, so you can never see a Lightning Talons and a Chandra's Outrage in the same pack. You just can't. Like, that's not very interesting. But what's interesting to note is like when you see, what is it? Which part is it? Yeah. So in part B, claustrophobia and shock are close together. And there's like a 50% chance that if you see a shock or a claustrophobia and not the other one, that it was in the pack. So that's interesting to know. And you can get better than that, but it's complicated. And it's hard to work with a spreadsheet during a draft or after a draft, because what are you going to do? Like press an X here, and then, add an X here, and then you look. It's not fun. So that's why I made the draft helper, which just takes all this, and then it just inputs the cards, and then you input the cards. I'll show you how later, and it just does all the work for you. There's a slight bug because there's a short printed common. If you'll notice, Sliver Construct is in C2 and it is in C1. And besides Sliver Construct, all of the sections, A, B, C1, and C2, don't share any cards. So I forgot to take into account that when I was making it. It's easy to fix. I'm just probably not going to update it until Theros comes out. It's easy. If it says Sliver Construct is missing, but it's in the pack, pretend it's not, doesn't say it's missing. And if it says it's missing and it's not in the pack, it is missing. That's all. If you want to run this, you need to download Java by clicking on this link, and you can find it at sites.google.com/site/MTGO draft helper. I will try to get the link in the description, so you can just go there and click on it. And then it just tells you what to do. You need Java. Tells you where to find me, where you can email me if there's any problems, and some people have had problems. And even if you have Java, make sure it's the most recent version, otherwise it might not work. And then what you do is you open up here, and don't download the files individually. Either go File, Download, or just press Ctrl+S. If you download them all individually, you have to make sure you put these files, 0, 1, 2, 3, and DAT, in a folder called M14. It's just, otherwise it won't work. When Theros comes out, I will update it with Theros as soon as I can. If anyone wants to help with that, all you have to do is email me draft caps. If you don't know how to get draft caps, I will show you in a second. Let me start up Magic. Okay, to turn on your draft recorder, you go to Menu, Settings, Gameplay, Enable Draft Recorder. Make sure that's clicked. If you're using the beta, it's under Settings, and I believe it's under Replays or Previous Games. There'll be a little option on the left side that says like Enable Draft Recorder or Record My Drafts to Text. It's in one of the pages. I can't tell you exactly because I don't want to download the beta. But I think it's under Replays, and it's just on the left side, and then it will save them to in your My Documents folder, and then you can just open them up, and they look something like this. And so they just have it's just a text file that has your picks and the cards that were in the pack, and so then my program reads this and then does some fancy stuff to it, and then there's some statistics that happen, and then the print run poops out. Okay, and so that's what I use, and then I will show you the program itself, which is not perfect. There's some updates I want to do to it, but again, I'll deal with that with Theros. Why isn't it starting? Yeah, there it goes. So as you can see, it says Cards, Pack, Section 1, Section 2. Sections are what A, B, C, D. There will always be online. There will always be cards from 2 sections in a fresh pack. In paper, it's 3, but online it's 2. And so you'll see that there's just a list of all the commons here, and you can either find it and double-click to add it to the pack, or you can type in the first letter, like Z, and it'll go there, and then you could enter. And as you add cards to the pack, it deletes cards that can't be in the pack from the cards list. And if you double-click it, they'll add back Zephyr. And so what you do is you just click cards, and then eventually, see it says here that Minotaur Abomination and Thunderstrike are missing, and Trollhide and Neutralize, and I will give you a real example as we're going through the postmortem. So that took a little longer than I thought it would. I'm going to try to go through the postmortem pretty quickly, but since so many people were asking about it, yeah, I just thought I'd tell everyone. And it's really easy to use. What I want to do is shorten this box for the pack because it can't have more than 10 cards in it, and have another box below it that says like guaranteed missing or something, so that when you take a shock or a claustrophobia, when it says shock and claustrophobia are missing, if it's guaranteed to be missing, which in this case it is, I'll explain it as I go along. There's no point in not adding it taking it out of the pack, because sometimes there's some size considerations that might tell you another thing that's definitely missing. It's a little complicated, and I've already gone 8-9 minutes of this, so I think I'll just start the postmortem, and then you'll see how it works in action. Okay, so let's start the postmortem. So we're back at the first pack, and it's still just Chandra's Outrage or Devout Invocation, I think. I really think Chandra's Outrage is the better pick, but I went for the Devout Invocation because I wanted to try to have some fun, and it was just as like I thought. I don't feel happy playing white decks in this format. Alright, so in this pack the rare is missing, so that doesn't give us any information. And I think I said in the draft, it's Root Walla, Messenger Drake, Pitchburn Devils, or Bubbling Cauldron. Based on my first pick, I think it's not Bubbling Cauldron. It works well with that Angelic enchantment, but there's not a lot of synergy without black or red. I don't know. I prefer blue in this format, so I took the Messenger Drake. But the right pick might be Root Walla. In hindsight, it is, so it's hard to sort of divorce myself from that. I like Root Walla too. I don't think it's Pitchburn Devils. I think Pitchburn Devils is third. So I'm not sure. You can tell me later on what you think. Alright, so this pack, again, there's an uncommon missing? Well, maybe we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So I can use the Draft Helper in this. So I cancel Active Treason, Pillarfield Ox, Oromancer, Dark Favor, Sensory Deprivation, Dawnstrike Paladin. Not the Show of Valor because it's foil, and a foil replaces a common, so that won't work. And Hunt the Weak. So there's 2 cards missing here. There's a Giant Growth missing, and a Nephelia Seakite. I do not believe a player would have taken a Giant Growth over a Hunt the Weak or a Woodborne Behemoth, so I'm going to say there's a reasonable certainty that the Show of Valor was a Giant Growth, which means a Seakite was taken here. Now, if I was using the Draft Helper during the draft, which you can do, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I find it too distracting to click on cards and think about what I'm going to take at the same time with the timer clock. But say there's 2 people, or you're streaming, one of your viewers can use the Draft Helper while you think about the pick. Like, you can definitely do it like that. So if I would have known that a Seakite was missing, I think I would have slammed the Behemoth. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. I think I would. Just because we saw the Root Walla last pick too. And I like Behemoth better than Hunt the Weak. Hunt the Weak's... Yeah, I do. I'm not sure that's right, but I would take the Behemoth. I think I end up taking the Cancel, which if I knew the Seakite was missing, I wouldn't have.
Oh, I would have had...
Oops. Alright, so in this pack, you see a bunch of maybes. There's no definitely missing cards. What does that mean? That means that the cards that are missing from the pack are on the outsides of the print run. Like when I showed you the spreadsheet, it was always in order, so there's none missing from the interior of a block from that column. It is interesting to note that the cards, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards missing. I don't think it can be all 3 over here. So it's probably a Sensory Deprivation or a Cancel missing. 50-50, there's no way to tell. And over here, 2 of these cards are in the pack, but it has to be contiguous. So it can either be Armored Cankrex and Rumbling Baloth and Lava Axe, or Lava Axe and Ring Flesh. It can't be Rumbling Baloth and Ring Flesh. Like, that's just how it works. And obviously one of them was the foil, and so this, you can't really tell anything. Like, you could probably guess it maybe was a Rumbling Baloth, but it could have just as easily been a Sensory Deprivation, Ring Flesh, and the Staff of the Mind Magus was a Lava Axe. There's no way to tell sometimes. Here, I take the Manaweth Sliver. I do this because I had seen a lot of 2 good green cards go by, the Root Walla and the Woodborne Behemoth. It is possible I should have taken the Death Gaze Cockatrice. I like this. This is the first good black card I've seen so far, and I've already seen 2 good green cards come. I do not like Nightwing Shade. I used to like it in the beginning of the format. I do not like it now. It's okay, but it's just expensive, and there's a lot of expensive stuff in black. Alright, so here, again, we can't really tell anything. It could be Pitchburn Devils, Essence Scatter, Negate, or Negate Naturalize. If I had to guess, it would be Pitchburn Devils, Essence Scatter. There's no good green card, there's no good white card, so I just take the best black card, I feel, which is a Curse Spirit. Death Gaze Cockatrice is good too. Yeah. Okay, so interestingly in this pack, it seems a Shock, a Master Diversions, and a Frost Breath were taken. I say interestingly because I'm pretty sure Wall of Frost is better in most blue decks than Frost Breath. Since I think most blue decks will end up more controlling than tempo-y. Yeah. So Wall of Frost just stops a lot of the hard to deal with 4-powered and 5-powered creatures that Frost Breath doesn't. But people really like Frost Breath, so If I would have known all those blue cards were missing from the previous packs, I should probably take a black card or a green card here. Since I'm abandoning blue, I would probably take... I don't know what I would take here. Maybe the Undead Minotaur? I don't really like Giant Spider. It's the Undead... I don't... And Ring Flesh is okay too. But not... I don't really like Ring Flesh in a not blue black deck. Yeah, I think I should have taken probably the Undead Minotaur. Well... yeah, Undead Minotaur. Alright, so here it seems that probably... there's definitely a Liturgy of Blood missing. And so I can click that. And see, that's why I'm saying there should be another box here. It just automatically takes those. Because sometimes, because of the way that cards only show up in certain combinations from each section. I think A can only ever have 4 cards in a pack. So, so sometimes if you add the 4th card, it removes some possibilities from the second section. I'm going to guess like a Pacifism and a Divination. Because I believe if I go like that, yeah. So probably Pacifism, Divination missing. Here it's clear that green should be open. A Colony Tusker this late is a pretty good sign that green is open. Otherwise, the next best card in the pack for me, knowing the blue cards were being taken so highly, is Master of Diversion. But I really like Colony Tusker. Alright, here's a good spot. So this, you really can't tell anything. If you see how there's sort of a line here, and it says maybe here, and then missing and maybe here, that means there's not even enough information left in the pack, which is typical, because it's the last time before the wheel, to even determine which showing of... I think Fog it is, probably. No, not Fog? Which showing of Trollhide... Shrivel. So it can't even tell which instance of Shrivel it is in that spreadsheet. There's just not enough information to say whether it's this one or this one. And it probably shows up 2 or 3 times, so really you can't tell anything about this point. Yeah. Here, I like Trollhide. Could have also taken, I guess in the... using hindsight, Compassion Knight would be better, but I think you're much more likely to get Compassion Knights than Trollhide, so I would take the Trollhide here again. Alright, so this is the wheel. So there is 100% no point in opening up the Draft Helper, because you already either used it, or you can just open up your Draft Cap. It's another reason they're good. And you can just read off the cards that are missing. There's a Disperse missing. There's a Chandra's Outrage missing. There's an Armored Cankrick's missing. There's a Shiv's Embrace missing. There's a Ring Flesh missing. And there's a Charging Griffin missing. So there's one other person in white. That's about all I know. And there's a couple people in black. Probably. And there's at least 1 or 2 people in blue, I'd assume. Here, I stand by Windstorm. Windstorm is a great sideboard card. It's much worse in, say, green-blue and green-white, where there's a whole bunch of flyers that you're going to self-kill, whereas in green-black it is better, but Windstorm is a very powerful sideboard card. Green Wraths are good. And here I'm just going to take the Angelic Wall. I think I'll just try to go through this quickly. Let me turn the sound down. Yeah, well... actually, this should be Mastodon, I think. I'm much more likely to play a Mastodon than I am an Angelic Wall. Did I take the Dawn Strike Paladin there? Okay, good. Pillarfield Ox. I should probably take the Soulmender there. I'm unlikely to play either, but if I get an Angelica Chord or two, the Soulmender is a better card. And as much as I don't like Dark Favor, it can just mise games if they put it on a evasive threat. So it's a good cut. Alright, here, again, Lifebane Zombie. Lifebane Zombie's in the pack. It's worth 2 tickets. This is a Swiss. You should take Lifebane Zombie, just for value. And an 8-4? Probably not. Pro Tour? I have no idea. I don't go to Pro Tours. If I didn't take the Lifebane Zombie, and I was using the Draft Helper, I would probably not take any of the blue cards, so I would probably take a Rumbling Baloth. Since it doesn't look like I'm going to be heavy enough green for the Howl to be good, but I should be able to squeak away with, like, Rumbling Baloth. I'm not going to use the Draft Helper anymore. It takes too long. This has already been going on for too long. Yes, this should be Rootwalla. If I don't take the Rootwalla here, I'll be sad. Okay, I took the Rootwalla. Here, I believe the Griffin Sentinel is what I want. I hope I've abandoned blue at this point. Well, I could have moved. No, actually I passed some blue too. Okay, I took the Griffin Sentinel. Late Liturgy. This should be Fortify, I believe. Or Plummet. Both of them are good cards. Wall of Swords is not really what I'm looking for. It's also a good card, but... Here, no. Voracious Worm, well, it does have some minor synergy with Lifelink. I think the Griffin Sentinel or the Auramancer is better. In hindsight, the Auramancer would have been better since I got 4 Griffin Sentinels. But I think at this point, I still think the Griffin Sentinel is better. Here, wow, it's a late Quag Sickness. I do enjoy Brave the Elements, so I think that's what I take, yeah? The Sentinel Sliver is also a good choice. Well, I don't like white at all. Yeah, Steel Form Sliver, Brindle Boar is not good. Enchantments are not good. Oop. And an easy Master of Diversion. Late black cards, so maybe I should have been white-black instead of white-green. The other choice here is the Sliver Construct. Yeah, I still think there's more upside in the Angelica Chord. Here, if I wanted to go more for the Angelica Chord, I could have taken the Auramancer, because it's good for, with like Soulmenders and Dawnstrike Paladins, you play the enchantment, that crappy one, the 1+1/+3, swing, you gain 4, get your Angel, and then eventually the creature with the thing on it dies, and then you play the Auramancer, get it back, put it on something, swing with Dawnstrike Paladin, get another Angel. I already had 2 Griffin Sentinels at the time, so Auramancer might be the correct pick here. And then I would have taken the Divine Favor here. I guess it really doesn't matter. I would have had one Fortify and one Divine Favor either way. Yeah, take the only playable card. And I don't know what I got. Here, since my deck isn't super aggressive, I take the Garruk's Horde over the Master. Just because it looks like my games are going to... I think I explained this in the draft. My games are going to go long. Just because I don't have a very aggressive deck. So the Garruk's Horde. If I was paying attention, I think I could have been black. And knowing I was in black, I would have a Master of Diversion here. And that might be better. It's not. Yeah, this is just an easy pacifism. Here I take the sliver. I think I got too hung up on slivers. Most of these slivers are okay on their own. And yeah, Root Walla is just always a 4/4. I think I should have taken the Root Walla here. I regretted the pick during the draft. During the rounds. I'd much rather have. And this is an easy Baloth. And here I already have a lot of creatures, so I think I should take the Trollhide. Do I take the Sliver here? I would take the Trollhide here. Oh, I did take the Trollhide. Okay. And again, it's possible, since the Sentinel Sliver isn't that great, it's not much better than the Auramancer. It, again, might be better to take an Auramancer here, because creatures with Trollhide, that way I can put a Trollhide on a creature with impunity, and then even if it dies, I can get it back. Yep, just that. Stoneheart Enchanter tabled. I could have taken the Ranger's Guile here, but this doesn't look like a Ranger's Guile deck. This deck would rather have a Giant Growth than a Ranger's Guile. Fortify, yep. Well, yeah, I already have a Show of Valor, so... interesting. Oh, I didn't take the early Brave the Elements? Yeah, I should take this Brave the Elements then. I thought I took the early one in Fog, and that's that. So, that was a little bit of a rush. Usually I don't. Usually I'll go into more detail in the postmortem and I'll examine the picks more. But since I took so long explaining how the draft helper works, I didn't think I'd do that. So, yeah, like I said, I made this program, so, if you're worried about viruses, I can give you the source code and you can compile it yourself. I don't care. But you're not allowed to use the source code for commercial use. You shouldn't need the source code. After you have the print run, which you can do whatever you want with, you could just make the program yourself. Anyways, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all later. Can't wait till Theros comes out in line.